Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Vice Chair training. I am Julie Adams. I'm the Executive Director for the SSCCC, and I am joined today by my interns and our past president, Cassandra Flandre Nguyen. I also have Emily, who is the student intern from Region 7, and Nicholas, who's the intern from Region 1, who will be providing the presentation for you today. So first of all, I'm going to cover the duties and responsibilities. So your duties as vice chair, you are an integral part of the region, and you have certain specific duties similar to those of the other regional officers. So first and foremost, that if the RAD becomes vacant, you will assume the duties of the regional chair or the regional affairs director in their absence. This means that you should be watching what the regional affairs director is doing, so becoming familiar with the responsibilities. Just in the off chance that you have to slide into that position, either permanently or on a temporary basis. Also, you may, that was the same, may succeed to that position on a permanent basis. This is really, really important. You will collect and maintain region committee membership, region reports, and other official documents. And the most important, because if you're not doing your job, none of your regional officers, other than the RAD and the LAD, will be paid, as well as your delegates. Each month, you must prepare and maintain the region accountability reports and the stipend reports and turn them into the appropriate persons. We'll cover that at the very end of this slide, so please make sure that you're on this webinar for the entirety of the webinar. And then you will chair the Internal Affairs Committee, and you will also serve as a member of the executive level Internal Affairs Committee. And you will also serve as a non-voting member on all the region committees. There are other responsibilities that you have. So once you get the slide presentation, click on this slide and read the rest of the responsibilities and be familiar with those so that you can ensure that you're doing your best at your position to its fullest capacity. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to before I hand it off to Cassandra, I will ask you, please drop your name and your region number in the chat. This is a mandatory training, so this is how we will mark you as present in this meeting. So just your name and your region number, and that we can mark you present. So with that, Cassandra, take it away.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what each regional officer does. So as a vice chair, like Dr. Adams mentioned earlier, you are going to be serving in the absence of any position vacancies. So if you guys have a vacant treasurer right now, then you will be expected to serve in that role as an interim treasurer until you guys host a special election. But on top of that, that's why it's really important for you all to be aware, at least at the very top, of what each regional officer does, so that in the case a officer is unable to attend a meeting, then you are prepared and are knowledgeable on each position. So with the regional affairs director, this person communicates with both the vice president of regional affairs and staff. They lead the region on all region matters and also attend the statewide regional affairs committee meetings. They also host each month the region delegate assemblies. So this is something to be aware of because say you are a regional affairs director resigns, or you also don't have a regional affairs director, or they're unable to attend a regional affairs committee, then you will be expected as the vice chair to help assist in serving in that role until that vacancy is filled, or just for that meeting if the regional affairs director is unable to attend. So that's the sort of mindset you should be aware of that you will be serving in as a vice chair. Moving on to vice chair, your own role. So you'll be communicating with the vice president and staff, completing the accountability and stipend reports, attending the statewide internal affairs committee meetings, and also hosting your region internal affairs committees. Now, moving on to the legislative affairs director, you'll be communicating with the vice president of legislative affairs and staff. You'll be preparing the legislative updates for each delegate assembly every month. And then the legislative affairs director also attends the statewide legislative affairs committee meetings and also hosts the region legislative affairs committee meetings. Moving on to the treasurer will be communicating with the vice president of finance and staff. They'll also be managing the regional budget and presenting budget updates at delegate assemblies, and then also on the statewide level, attending the regional finance and fundraising committee meetings, and finally hosting their region finance committees as well. Moving on next to the communications officer. The communications officer will be in communication with the vice president of communication and staff. And if we could actually go back to the slide, Dr. Adams.
Hold on, I'm having a temporary difficulty.
But while the slides are up, the communications officer, they not only communicate with the vice president of communications and staff, they also distribute the monthly newsletter for the region and also are in charge of all marketing and social media initiatives done for the region. So marketing campaigns, social media, posting on Instagram, that will be under the purview of the communications officer. And on the state level, the communications officer attends the statewide communications committee meetings. And of course, on the region level, the communications officer hosts their own region communications committee meetings. So these positions are all, of course, very important. There is representation on both the state level and region level. But as vice chair, it's really important that you're aware of what each position does, because not only will you be expected to potentially serve in this role if there is a vacancy or need, but you will also be asked to assist your regional affairs director in helping out each position and making sure they all feel supported as well. So that's really important to keep in mind of. And with that, I'll be passing it off to Emily.
Yeah, so I'll be talking about delegate assemblies. So delegate assemblies is where the rest of your regional board and all your verified delegates or alternate delegates meet monthly on a monthly basis. And it is really important that you as the vice chair join these delegate assemblies. So yeah, so starting September, you're required to join delegate assemblies. If not, your stipend will be deducted. And during this meeting, you're responsible for presenting the region accountability reports and any other information requested. So I'll really be emphasizing the region accountability reports because that's making sure that your other regional board members gets paid as well as your delegates. And we want to make sure that you present it, and if there's any mistakes, we're able to fix it. Gets fixed during the meeting so they can be sent in for approval and everyone gets paid on time. And this is also a good time to engage with delegates and your other board members, and these conversations will inform your work for the region internal affairs committee. And if you would like a staff to attend your meeting, please give a 5-day notice and hold your meeting during work hours. So it will be from 9 to 5. During the time 9 to 5, yeah. So if your meeting's at like 7 p.m., staff are most likely not going to be able to make it. Next slide, please. Along with the delegate assembly, you will also have to attend the executive board meeting. So this is basically a meeting with all your other regional board members, but without the delegates. So this is also a monthly meeting that will start in the beginning of September. And during this meeting, you'll also present your region accountability reports and any other request information. As you can see, the region accountability report is really important. So it's really important you have it updated every month. And this is also a good time to, touch base with your regional officers and engage them with any issues you have with SBAs. And same thing with this, if you would like staff to attend your meeting, make sure it's 5 days notice and it's during business hours. And I'll pass it off to Nick.
In your internal affairs committee, you're going to hold one of these once a month starting in October, and you will be the chair of these meetings. So once again, really important to keep an eye on your RAD, learn how to chair a meeting. It's just going to make everything easier for you in the future. And these are also a good time to touch base with delegates and students to assign tasks before reporting back to the delegates. And this is time for you to talk about various projects regarding your region and statewide finance and fundraising. And just to touch on your stipend also, you can look at your stipend as a scholarship. It's a little bit of extra money in your pocket. Following through with all these tasks, it does benefit you. And so I will pass this back to Emily.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Brown Act. And some of you might be familiar with this from your SBA, but the Brown Act is a California state law that was enacted in 1953 to make sure that publics are able to access and attend your meetings for local legislative bodies like SBA or Student Senate, which is us. So student governments, they all fall under the Brown Act. So the Brown Act governs local agencies, bodies of local government agencies created by state or federal law, and any standing up committee of a covered board or legislative body, and governing bodies of nonprofit corporations formed by a public agency. So SSCCC does fall under the nonprofit part, and student governments also fall under it. And I'll pass this to. Oh no, it's still me. Sorry. Oh no, it's Nick.
So the Brown Act key requirements are that you post your agenda 72 hours in advance. We're actually asking that you submit your agenda to Deja 96 hours in advance, keeping in mind holidays and all that, and just accounting for those. And also keeping in mind that we're all being respectful of each other's times. We give each other that 24 hours of grace by posting our agenda at 96 hours. You're going to list your member locations on the agenda. You're going to specify meeting times and locations, once again, just for transparency and for inclusion. And then you want to post publicly the accessible location on the website, and you want to ensure that it's ADA compliant. And ADA is the Americans with Disability Act. And so through that, you want to make sure that everyone has access to the location, the website, and the technologies, especially if they are have a disability. So you want to allow for public attendance and supply the address. You want to be deliberate only on the agenda items, and publicly report actions and votes. And there should be no secret ballots for the actions, which we all in the room need to maintain that order. And I am handing it back over to Emily.
So what is considered teleconferencing under the Brown Act? Next slide, please. So teleconferencing is defined as a meeting of individuals in different locations connected by electronic means, either through audio or video or both. So this basically is almost every single meeting held within the SSCCC, because everyone is in different locations. Some people are in NorCal, some people are in SoCal, and we want to make sure that we follow the rules for teleconferencing, which is everyone who is a voting member has to have their address sent into the chair and posted 72 hours in advance, and we also have to make sure that it's accessible to the public. So if your location is on a second floor and there's no elevator, that's not accessible to the public, because there's no way for them to go upstairs. And I'll pass it back to Nick.
AB 2449 was adopted in 2022, and it allows SBAs to use teleconferencing without noting location on the agenda for just cause or due emergency circumstances. And then I will pass it back to Emily.
Yeah, just to add on real quick for AB 2449 as well, just like what Nick said, it was used so that you don't have to notate your location on the agenda for just cause and emergency circumstances. But there are some provisions regarding AB 2449. So first, this can only be used for in-person meetings, or if you have quorum in one location, so in-person meetings. This means that you can't use AB 2449 if you are teleconferencing. So you need to make sure that this is not something on the agenda. If you have a purely teleconferencing meeting, this is only for in-person meetings. And then again, for AB 2449, you have to have both your audio and video on as well. And again, you cannot use AB 2449 for consecutive meetings. You also cannot use it for more than 2 meetings in a calendar year. So this is truly only for if you have a just cause or emergency circumstance, such as a medical or physical emergency, a disability that's not already accommodated for, caretaking, so on and so forth. But it's really important to remember that. So if you're having an in-person meeting or delegate assembly that's in person, and you have quorum in one location that you're all meeting at, then make sure you have AB 2449 as a standing item, so that in case someone was supposed to show up, but they have to join online instead, they will still be able to participate under AB 2449.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the meeting agendas. So it's really important that you don't take any actions or discussions on any items that are not in the agenda that was posted 72 hours in advance. And also for agendas, there must be a brief general description of each item of business that will be discussed at the meeting. So I'll be talking a little about the agenda setting. So as if you need help with agenda setting, like addresses, making like you need help with filling out the agenda template, feel free to reach out to student interns, as student interns are trained on making these agendas and help assisting you. And I'll walk through a meeting after this. It's also important that you send out a when to meet, usually preferably like a couple days before you want to set a meeting up. So your delegates are able to fill it out when they are available to meet, and you're able to set up a day. And addresses, it's really important that you ask for the address of the delegates. And sometimes there will be special elections. So there will be a special election notice that's sent out 10 days in advance, but you don't have to send out your agenda with it. The agenda can still be sent out 96 hours in advance, but after you send out the special election. And it's also really important that you meet quorum. If you don't meet quorum, you're still able to run the meeting, but you're just not able to take any actions on it. But you still have to take minutes even if there is no quorum. So Dr. Amos, we can stop sharing. I can go do the agenda example.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. So this is how agenda usually looks like. So the stuff you usually have to change is, put in your region, and if it's a delegate assembly, if it's for an internal affairs committee, and the date, the time that the meeting will be held, and it will just be a meeting, the date, the time, and the address of where the chair will be holding the meeting, and make sure that you put in a room number for where the meeting will be held. For example, like if I'm holding this meeting at East Los Angeles College, I can just put that it's at East Los Angeles College. I have to put like it's in the F building and room number 209 or something, and via teleconference, because there will be other people that are not from the same location, and then you'll have to put in the chair's name, which is your name, and your SSCCC email right here, and make sure to put in your Zoom link and the agenda materials. And this is where you put in all the addresses you collected from people who are within your committee, who are voting members. And this is usually like the people who are going to be in the meeting. And this is where we go to the order of business. Usually you start off with roll call. You call the meeting to order, and then you do the roll call, and then you go through consent agenda to adopt the agenda and approve of the minutes from the last meeting. But obviously, if it's your first meeting, there's no need to approve minutes. And then we go into public comment, and then it will just be standing items. And standing items can vary from meeting to meeting. So yeah, so this all varies. And then you go into business, where you have to take actions, discuss, and yeah. And then we go into reports, and usually reports are also sent in advance. So, and it is posted with the agenda, so people are able to like click on the link and just look into the report. And there's a report for the regional board members, and there's also a report for the delegates. And then before we end up the meeting, we have communication from the floor, and the meeting adjourns. And that's mostly it for running through a meeting. Okay, and then I'll go with creating an agenda. So the first meeting you must, as a vice chair, you must be held in October, which is your internal committee, or your stipend will be deducted. and make sure to use the region internal affairs committee template where I just showed you. You just have to fill in the blank, like putting your region in, putting the meeting title, the date, time, and getting the addresses. And please make sure to create a Zoom link using your SSCCC email. It's important that you use your SSCCC email, or else it will be cut off at 40 minutes because SSCCC's email is subscribed to the Pro plan. So yeah, and gather addresses from committee members for the agenda. Make sure to print, post, and submit the agendas, and making sure that you're following your Brown Act requirements. And with this, I'll pass this back to Nick.
So we will go over the difference between discussion and action. For a discussion, no action may be taken. It's a discussion. Think of it as a think tank opportunity. And discussion items are intended to provide information and have discussions. It does not require quorum to occur. And then an action item, it does require quorum, and quorum, just to reiterate, is half of the voting members plus one. And action items are intended for the body and take formal action. You need quorum to be able to take any actions. And there's a example of your agenda off to the right. And with that, I will pass this off to Dr. Adams.
Thank you, Nick. I'll stop sharing and I'll go in. So you will receive a link to the master drive. Let me just share my screen. You'll receive a link to the master drive. The master drive is the Google file drive that all the documents for the SSCCC are saved. So you'll go to master drive, and then you'll look for a folder that says Student Senate Regions. You'll click there, and then you'll, wrong, that was adopt resolutions. Let's see, regions right here. You'll go to the regions, you'll look for your region, just choosing 6 for right now. And you'll go find your region, and for you, you're gonna go into 24, 25, and for you as vice chairs, you'll go under internal regional committees for where you'll save most of the agendas you develop. So you go to internal regional committees, and you'll create a folder for the date of the meeting that you're in, and you will save all the files here. This is really, really important for you to save all your documents in the master drive in the region under internal committees. The reason for that is we have an MOU with the Chancellor's Office that says we will create an infrastructure for the SSCCC. Part of that infrastructure is to know and understand how our committees and our regions and our board are doing their work. And so when you create an agenda, most of the time, the regional officers will create an agenda and save it in their own drive under your SSCCC username. But you need to move it to the master drive under the region under internal committees, so that we have access to it, and 2, the public has access to it and knows where to find it. So you have an important job in ensuring the institutional memory of the organization is established and stays in the drives. Also, I will show you the structure of the drive. You'll see here the structures of the drive. Please do not change the structure or remove any access to any of these folders. That way we have folks that have access to the folders, and we need access, particularly staff and other regional officers need to have access. So please do not remove any access, and do not change or add additional folders in this main folder. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your student intern, and they can walk you through or help you navigate this drive. And with that, I'll begin sharing the PowerPoint again and hand it off to someone to talk about posting the agenda.
Yeah, so when it comes to posting the agenda, we have previously mentioned that to be Brown Act compliant, you must post your agenda 72 hours in advance. But yeah, just to reiterate, we're asking for 96 hours, and to be mindful of business hours. This is Monday through Friday. Your weekend does not count towards these 96 hours because staff is not in office. And you'll be sending this to Deja Corbin. Her email is in here. And yeah, she's very thorough. She's very responsive. So yeah, don't have any reservations when it comes to reaching out to her. And then we will be moving into Robert's Rules of Order. So everyone out there, if you could just think to yourself for a second about what does a chair do? Next slide, please. So when you're chairing a meeting, there are synonymous words for this. You're the presiding officer, the chair, and your job is to ensure that debate remains respectful and that everyone has the opportunity to speak. In Robert's Rules of Order, we like to emphasize that everyone gets to speak once before anyone gets to speak twice. And that is up to the room to maintain order with that, because it brings in like people's unique perspectives, and it doesn't let anyone dominate the room, which I think is very important. And as a chair, you should always remain impartial. You should be non-biased, and you should maintain order. And consider establishing a community agreements. When you're in charge, you need to rule fairly and be strong in that. Don't have any leniency with breaking Brown Act or Robert's Rules, because this is how we conduct democratic business efficiently. Next slide, please. And I will pass it off to Emily.
Yeah, so I'll be going over the different types of motions that are usually used. So the most common type of motion is the main motion. So these are the motion that introduces like business. For example, be like, I move to approve $5,000 for this golf cart, and that's how you introduce business, and that is considered a main motion. And there are secondary, subsidiary motions. It usually refers to a motion on the table. So it will be used to make like amendments and stuff, and these motions usually have to be passed before the main motion. So for example, using my example with approving $5,000 for the golf cart, maybe somebody makes an amendment like, oh, $5,000 is too much. So they're like, I meant to change the amount from 5,000 to 2,500 instead. So that will be considered a secondary motion. And then the amendment, which is the secondary motion that someone made, has to be passed first before you go back to vote on the main motion. And then there's also privilege motions. It doesn't relate to the pending motion, but are dealt with immediately. So for example, if you need to use the restroom, so it will be like, chair, point of personal privilege, and that will be a privilege motion. Or point of privilege, I can't really hear the speaker. And there are also incidental motions. It just changed the way a motion is being handled. So this doesn't have anything to deal with the motion. It's usually like you're trying to like appeal the chair's decision, or like you're trying to appeal the chair's decision, and you want to clarify something. So it'll be like point of order. Next slide, please. For debate and decorum, so one, confine remarks to a pending motion to make sure to do not attack another member for their motives or their opinion on something. 3, make sure that all your questions, concerns are addressed through the chair. So make sure that you're not looking at another board member when you're debating. Make sure to look at the chair. We just want to make sure that other board members doesn't feel attacked, or we don't want them to feel uncomfortable, and refrain from using board members' names. So usually it will be like, when you're in a meeting, you don't call out like Cassandra. You would just be like, for Cassandra, it would be like President or Rad 3. And number 5, refrain from disruption or negativity. We want to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly and without any conflicts. Next slide, please, and I'll pass it on to Nick.
Keeping it germane. Debate and amendments need to relate to the pending topic. We need to stay very linear in our discussion and debate topics. So any forking off and talking about other things, we need to call this back into focus. So a chair can rule that comments are out of order, and the chair should be doing that. And in these first few meetings, for everyone else, if they're just going to remind the chair of these things, because sometimes conversation can kind of nudge its way out of the topic at hand. And the chair and the assembly must ensure speakers stay on track. Refrain from filibustering or introducing a new topic through an amendment. And that just means refrain from squeaking in like 2 items into one thing. We want to compartmentalize and do things individually. And I will refer this back to Emily.
So I'll talk about the steps to handle a motion. So usually what happens is someone makes a motion. I move to approve $5,000 for the golf cart, and we wait to see if there's a second. If nobody seconds the motion, then the motion to approve the 5,000 golf cart dies there. But if somebody does second it, the chair restates the motion. And it's really important that I emphasize that however the chair states the motion is how it's going to be handled. So if you're part of the meeting, make sure that the chair restates the motion correctly. For example, if I said I want to approve the $5,000 golf cart, but the chair restates it as they want to approve $4,000 for the golf cart. If nobody catches the chair's mistake, the motion will be $4,000 instead of $5,000. And make sure to correct the chair nicely if they do make a mistake. And then after the chair restates the motion, we guys go into debate, pro and con. If there is no con and everyone is in favor of approving the $5,000 for the golf cart, then it just gets approved. And then the motion is put on a vote by a chair. Make sure the motion is stated correctly, and then the result will be announced by the chair whether the motion passes or not. Next slide. It'll be for Nick.
So when it comes to point of order, point of information, and point of privilege, the point of order is to challenge the chair. And this challenges the ruling, the decision, or the procedure. An example of that would be, chair, point of order, the motion was restated incorrectly. And with point of information and point of privilege, if I remember correctly, those can take precedent because we want everyone in the room to have all the information. And we also want for everyone to have the accommodations that they need. And so I believe you can call for those at any point in the meeting. So point of information is used to seek information about an item. So chair, point of information. I would like to know if Pizza Planet was contacted about a school discount rate, or if the budget is based off the original price. And then your point of privilege would be requesting your rights not to be violated. And that this could be you asking for a larger font or requesting the material. And an example of that would be, chair, point of personal privilege. Could I receive the handout given to the assembly? I did not receive this. And then I will hand this back off to Emily.
So this will be another example of how to give out motions and amending motions. So let's just say for General Assembly, your ASB will review and adopt a budget of $5,000 for the spring General Assembly in LA. So if you want to go into this motion and introduce business, which is the main motion, you will say, chair, I move to adopt a budget of $5,000 for the spring General Assembly. And maybe like someone else in your assembly was like, oh no, I think $5,000 is not going to be enough. So they will raise their hand and be like, chair, I move to amend by striking $5,000 and replacing it with $5,500. Next slide, please. So I'll talk a little about amendments. So for amendments, you can either amend a motion by adding or striking the original motion, or you can strike and add into the main motion. And when you refer a motion, it's usually when you don't have enough information or you want more research to be done on it before you take a vote on it, or you want to send it to a standing or a special committee. For postponing it, you want to send this item to another spot on the agenda, maybe because somebody who is supposed to be here is not here to talk about it, or you can postpone it to another meeting. Next slide, please. And I'll give this to Cassandra.
All right, so as you all are aware, part of your duties are, a large part of it is going to be the accountability and stipend reports. So I'm going to share my screen right now and show you guys just a couple of items. So first and foremost, before we get into the accountability and stipend reports, I would like to show you all an example of an internal affairs committee meeting agenda on the region level. So this is from Region 6 last term. Here's an example of what your agendas will look like for region internal affairs committee. So this is their first meeting. So they had an icebreaker, and they also went over the IAC committee charge, had a vice chair election for their region IAC, and also went over a future meeting dates and times. So this is just an example of what your first agenda will most likely look like for your first meeting as the region IAC chair, but just giving you guys that example. And then, as we mentioned earlier, there will be a possibility that you'll be taking minutes as well. So we want to give you guys an example of minutes as well. So here's an example pulled from the statewide internal affairs committee meetings, which ironically is actually going to be something you'll be serving as a voting member for. But here you can see when you take minutes, you will indicate the presence, either they were present or absent for each member. And if you scroll down, you'll note what time the meeting starts. And one thing to note is the formatting for minutes is also super, super important as well. You want to make sure that it's red bolded and that we can see the difference between the minute portions and the actual agenda content as well. And when you're creating the minutes, it's very simple. You can just create a copy of the meeting agenda and then format it as such here. So you can see here, adopted as presented, approved as presented, no public comment. And when you're taking minutes, it doesn't need to be word for word what was said. You just want to make sure you cover these two things. One, that it's a general summary of what was discussed during the item, and two, you indicate whether action was taken. So for the committee roundtable, no action was taken, but say there was action taken, then you need to notate what action was taken and what the motion was, including who made the motion, who seconded, if there were any objections, so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that happens for each agenda item. There is a summary and no action was taken. Summary, no action taken. And then scrolling down, you want to make sure you put what time the meeting adjourned as well. But this is just an example of how minutes should be taken, and know that as vice chair, say your communications officer is absent from a delegate assembly, then you will be asked to take meeting minutes. So please be prepared to do that. However, I will say you're not alone in this ordeal. You also will have your region student intern help you out, as well as staff to help you out on meeting minutes as well. So if you ever feel like you need more assistance on meeting minutes, please do not hesitate to reach out to them. You can also reach out to your vice president as well, as they will also be having this experience in meeting minutes. So you have a large support system with you. So just make sure you utilize it and don't feel like you're alone on that. Now with that, I'll be
Cassandra, can I just add something? And just a clarification that, your responsibility is taking the minutes, but the staff and the interns are there to support you, and share with you the good effective practices for taking minutes. I'll also say that if you have a committee meeting and you do not reach quorum, you still are required to, take minutes. Even if it says who attended there, who wasn't, who was absent, and that you did not reach quorum. Because we are a Brown Act body, we are required, if there was an agenda, there was a meeting, then you have to have some sort of minutes, even if it's just to record no quorum was established. Thank you, Cassandra.
Yeah, of course, and thank you for adding on. Now with that, I'll be moving on to the accountability and stipend reports. So a huge part of your role is going to be filling out the accountability and stipend reports each month. And this is how the stipend reports are. So they are going to be two separate workbooks, one for the stipend reports and one for the accountability reports. However, we have created a template and an example for you all to use. So this here is going to be the stipend report, and I'll be going pretty in depth about how to fill it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to just put it in the Q&A so that when we have our forum, we could go over it more in depth if needed. But to maximize my screen here, so for this first row, you would fill out what region you are. So here's going to be, if you're region 5, put region 5, and then for stipend report, and then please fill out the proper month and year that you're filling it out for. And then moving on down, you want to make sure that you insert the names of the vice chair. So vice chair, if Emily's the vice chair, I'll put Emily Fu. If Dr. Adams the treasurer, I will put Dr. Julie Adams, so on and so forth. And then in the next column, you'll have the deductions that you'll be adjusting. So for the max monthly compensation, you will not need to touch this, but the next column to touch will be the deductions. So you would just put the number of deductions there are. So we have created an example here for you all. So here, the vice chair, we have they have received 3 deductions. So I put the number 3 here. Now for column F here, reduction per deduction, you will not need to edit this part as well, as it will automatically, as indicated by the formula here, automatically update it for you. So that makes it easier on your end to fill it out. However, I would like everyone to take note in here. When there is a deduction, say someone is absent from a delegate assembly. So the vice chair here was indicated as being absent from a delegate assembly. Instead of just putting absent delegate assembly, you should link the meeting minutes from that meeting of which they were absent. So that say the vice chair, when you're reviewing the stipend reports, is like, oh, I don't think I was absent for this meeting. Instead of going through that back and forth of communication of talking to you, figuring out the problem, instead they'll be able to click on the meeting minutes and see that in the minutes they were reflected as absent. So that's why it's really important to make sure you link that in here. And don't worry too much, we will be leaving comments in the templates as well. So that way, if you have a question on, oh, I don't remember what Cassandra said for this portion, you could just hover your mouse over it and I'll leave these instructions in there. So that way you can go directly on the cell itself and be able to remember this information. So don't worry, don't stress out too much about this. And also your vice president will be aware of this as well. They are a great resource to go to for how to fill out the accountability and stipend reports. But continuing on, you can see here, this person had 3 deductions. They were absent from the delegate assembly, and I know this, so I could click on the meeting minutes for that meeting they were absent for. They also did not submit a report and also did not hold an internal committee meeting. So that is going to be indicated with a 3, and you'll see that their final compensation here is going to be $60 because they had 3 deductions. So 3 times 3 is 9, so they had $90 deducted. So that's where you'll see that here. Now going down to the regional delegates, you want to make sure you input the school they're from, so Allen Hancock, whatever the school college they're representing, and then put their name as well. So this is for the stipend reports, remember, so you want to make sure their name is on here, their max monthly compensation, you will not need to touch this, and then for the deduction, you will just need to put the amount of deductions they had. So I do want to let you know that you will be made aware of the specific types of deductions, of whether or not they were absent to a regional meeting or absent to their statewide meeting, or if they did not submit a report or did not hold their regional internal committee meetings. But you can just put 2 here and you'll see automatically this will update. So again, you do not need to worry about that. And again, this will follow, the notes here will follow the same format. So say for for row 10 here, they had 0 deductions, then I would not put anything in the notes because they did not have any deductions. But for this person, they had 2 deductions, so you have to make sure the notes are filled out with what the deductions are. And again, it would be the same format as here. If they were absent, then if they were absent from a certain meeting, you would put absent, internal affairs committee meeting. And again, you want to make sure you link the meeting minutes of the meeting they're absent from so that they're able to access that in the workbook itself instead of having to go on multiple tabs to try to find it out. So that's how it's going to be. And I do want to say for the process, it will be one report, one workbook for the stipend reports. So how you would name this is you would put region 6 underscore stipend reports. And then instead of creating a new workbook each month for the stipend reports, instead you would just make a duplicate of the example or template and then adjust it. So you would update the month and year here and properly fill it out and make sure the names are all filled out and the notes as well. So that way by the end of the year, it will be notated. So make sure when you make a duplicate of the sheet, you update the sheet name as well. So you just right click on the sheet you made a copy of, click rename and do February. So that way you can see on the bottom, like, okay, like I am approving the February stipend and accountability reports. So you'll click on February sheet and you'll know this is for the month of February. So with that, I'll be moving on to the accountability reports. Now the accountability reports are going to look a little different. This is where you're going to notate the different meetings that they're going to be part of and whether or not they were absent, present, or excused absence from. So I'm going to maximize my screen a bit here. So this will include the Regional Affairs Director and Legislative Affairs Director. And one thing to note is if their cell is marked gray, then that means they are not part of that meeting or they're not part of the committee. So here for the Internal Affairs Committee, this is only for the regional committees as well. So here it's going to be the Executive Board, Regional Internal Affairs Committee, Regional Legislative Affairs, so on and so forth. So you'll see here the Vice Chair, they are a member of the Executive Committee and the Internal Affairs Committee, and they are a voting member of it. So the reason why this is gray is because the LAD, the Treasury and Comms are not part of the Regional Internal Affairs Committee, so their cell is marked gray. Now, I do want to say you will have these drop-down chips here for you to indicate like, okay, the Legislative Affairs Director was present for the Regional Legislative Affairs Committee. So you could click present and it will turn green and you'll be able to see that marked here. And now if I'm going to show you all for the reports in column I. This is going to be if they submitted the reports for the regional delegate assembly, as it is a requirement for every officer and delegate to submit their reports. So if the regional affairs director submitted reports, you would click yes, no, or excuse, as in they let the chair know in advance they could not submit their reports, so they were excused for that. But this is where your communication with the regional affairs director is going to be really important, so that you're making sure like hey, like was anyone excused from submitting a report? Was anyone excused from the executive committee, things like that. So they can make sure that no one is going to be penalized for having a possible emergency for not being able to attend a meeting. So you want to make sure you're constantly communicating with the regional affairs director on the accountability reports. Now going on here, for the delegates, again, you're going to insert their college name, and you don't need to insert their actual name as it'll be notated by their college. And then here you want to make sure that you copy and paste. So one thing that'll be super helpful for you all is you can copy and paste this chip here and then put it down here. So that way you can update it and put it down. So you could drop it down to make it easier for you all and know the status of their presence at the regional delegate assembly. And one thing to note is when the term starts kicking up and delegates are assigned to regional committees, that's when you'll need to update the accountability report with what committee they are. So say this person, SSCCC, pretend this is a college and this college signed up to be part of the Legislative Affairs Committee, then what you'll need to do is go through and remove the gray and update it with a chip here, like so that you can know, okay, like this SSCCC, whoops, wrong one. SSCCC was assigned to the Legislative Affairs Committee and they were present or they were absent. So that's what it's going to look like for you all. You need to make sure, again, that the stipend reports are updated properly and make sure that you're in communication with not only your regional affairs director, but with your vice president as well. Your vice president will provide on statewide internal affairs committee meetings a standing item on an update on how the accountability and stipend reports are every month. So if you're having difficulty, then you can use the internal affairs committee meetings that are statewide as an opportunity to say like, hey, like I'm having issue with this part of the accountability reports. Do you have any suggestions? How should I improve on this? So on and so forth. So that's an example of just you all having that support behind you of, being able to talk it out with other vice chairs who are going through the same forms as you all. And again, in the column I, for the delegates, you want to notate if they submitted a report for the regional delegate assembly. So that's where you'll see it as well. I do want to say in this template will have minor changes every once in a while, but the format itself, you'll get the official formalized master template through your vice president when the vice president does his final review of these templates and is able to give the go ahead. And you'll also be trained by the vice president once more on how to fill out these reports. And your vice president will also go through with you all when they meet with you one-on-one to talk about the reports. So there will be a lot of comprehensive training for you all on this report, and you'll receive the official report later on when the template is officially formalized, but it's just giving you all a sneak peek at how it should look like. And I do want to say the accountability and stipend reports, again, will be approved typically at the executive board meetings for your region. So you want to make sure you let your regional affairs director know, like, hey, like, I have completed the accountability and stipend reports. Please link it on the executive board agenda. So that way everyone can review it beforehand and you can approve it through there. If your executive board does not meet for that month, it can also be approved at the delegate assembly as well. But typically it is approved through the executive board. With that, I will be passing it back over to Dr. Adams for her to add on.
Thank you. So I just want to make some clarifying points and just say, whew, that's a lot of information. Accountability reports are really an important task for you all. I will tell you that your accountability reports are due every month. This last year, we received accountability reports in June. That's not going to happen next year. Your accountability reports are due each month. If you do not turn them in, I think there's a 60-day, 90-day extension, but after that, then we're not paying them. That is your responsibility. As far as training, I know that Cassandra said your VP is going to train you. No, your student interns will train you on the use of the final stipend report. Once we go through and look at it and do the final approvals, you'll be trained by your by your student intern on the use of these. Any questions that you have, please take them to your intern. That way staff can improve the process. If you have issues with your region as far as maybe you're unable to get a delegate assembly or an executive board meeting, or maybe you're having challenges in your region as far as getting folks to attend or maybe tracking, then you can take that to the IMC meeting and have a conversation with the other vice chairs. But if it comes to the form and completing the form and how to use the form, staff will show you how to do that. We will be doing other areas of support this year and focusing really on getting these forms in and completed on time. So you'll be accountable for these. So this will be one of those measurements that we will be working really close with you to ensure that you are completing your task on how to complete it and how to submit it, and all of the other important pieces and components that go with this. So I just wanted to give those clarifying points and who's the responsibility, and we'll provide you with further information to clarify this and send you clear instructions. So no need to stress over it. Just know that if you have quite a number of responsibilities, and this should be at the highest level of your priority, because now you're dealing with your delegates and money. And last year, delegates were very upset because they would go to meetings and then they would not get a stipend for the work. And we want to make sure we maintain full delegates, and you want to ensure that your region stays fully engaged. And this is one of those pieces of incentive to help your region delegates to be more involved, stay involved. It's just one small incentive for them to participate. So with that, I think, let's see where we go next. I think that's it, unless we just have Q&A. So I do have one question, and then if you want to drop your question in the chat or in Q&A, I have two questions. And then if you have other questions, I can unmute you and you can ask them. So the first one is, we start our meetings in October. Delegates decide they want to be on which committees. That's a really good question. So the delegate assembly in September will discuss committee assignments, and that's when your delegates will, we're gonna actually, let me back that up. We're gonna have a delegate mandatory training in which we'll share with the delegates their responsibilities as far as serving on committees and other responsibilities. And we'll talk to them before they even get to the September delegate assembly meeting. And when that delegate assembly meeting happens, and then your delegates will discuss committee assignments, and folks will be assigned to specific committees. So you should have your committees by September. They'll be voted on and acted on, we hope, in September, and then you'll have your first meeting in October. So I hope that answers that question. I do see your hand, so let me ask the second question and I'll go to the hand. So the next question is, when should we have the first accountability stipend reports finished and filled out? Well, your regional reps are working now, so by attending this meeting and your treasurer will already attended a mandatory meeting and you attended this mandatory meeting, and then your comms folks will attend a mandatory meeting next week. So they should receive a stipend for this first initial piece of the work, and hopefully they're also doing additional work in their learning about their jobs and such. So your first accountability report will be due next month. That will cover this month, cover the month of July. And so your first one should be done in August. And so we'll make sure that our interns are well aware and they're able to help you and assist you, and that'll be your first learning environment, because your delegates will not receive a stipend. Only your 3 regional officers will receive a stipend. So hopefully I answered that question, and then I'll go to the hand. I will unmute you 1 second, and then you can ask your question. Okay?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, like, for the timeline for the accountability and stipend reports, is it like every month we have the delegate assemblies and then afterwards we would finish the accountability report and present it at the next month's executive meeting, and then like get it approved? What do we do after we get it approved at like the executive board meeting? Who do we send it to?
So after you get it approved, you in the month, so I suggest you do it as soon as your committees have met. So your last committee meetings, you go ahead and you do that. And then you complete the report as soon as you have all the information. You send it before your executive board for approval. So as soon as, which is the next month, and hopefully your executive board meets the first of the month before the delegate assembly. You take it to the executive board, it's approved there, and then you immediately send it to the vice president. And I think this is a good time for us to introduce the vice president. I'm gonna pause here for a second and ask VP Simon to introduce himself, because I don't believe many of you have met Josh. So Josh, can you come off camera and introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Awesome. Thank you, Julie, for mentioning that. If I haven't had the chance to have a one-on-one yet with the vice chairs, my name is Joshua Simon. I'm the vice president of SSCCC. If you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. I did send out a few emails a while back just of how to communicate out with me, where you can reach out and where I can help with support. So just get the chance to check out your emails, and yeah, I'd be more happy to work with you guys more in our future IAC meetings. So yeah, that's all I have.
So I'm going to drop Josh's email in the chat. If you haven't had a one-on-one, I highly suggest you go ahead and schedule time with him, answer all the questions. He can assist you with any questions you have that may have not been answered today. So go ahead and drop him a call and have one-on-ones, talk to him about your task. Josh served last year as the Regional Affairs Director for Region 5, so he understands the region responsibilities and those of the Vice Chair, so I'm sure he can assist you in your tasks. But to finish the answer to that question, it's due to the Vice President. The Vice President will review the reports and send it on to staff to process. Hopefully, if all the pieces worked right, the stipend reports will be approved that month and paid that month. That's the goal. The goal is to get them immediately submitted, paid, and your delegates and your regional officers receive their stipends. One more clarifying point I will add to Cassandra's comment about the reports. Oral reports are still a reduction of stipend. Written reports must be submitted in time for the delegate assembly agenda. We will be helping your RADs understand what that deadline is. Those reports must be submitted in writing in order to receive a stipend. Oral reports do not count. And that will be also reiterated in the September meeting, so the delegates understand only written reports will receive a stipend. Only written reports will not receive a stipend deduction. I think that covered it. Are there any more questions, unless Cassandra, Nick, and Emily want to add any more comments? So are there any more questions? This is your time. No question is a dumb question. Go ahead, ask your question. And can you pronounce your name for me? I don't want to butcher it, so, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is pronounced Arshmeet.
Arshmi.
Yeah, so just exactly how it's spelled.
Perfect.
And my question was for the reports. I know that we have to, I think like the current rule, or at least the one in my region, is like we have to submit it 7 days prior to the delegate assembly. But there are times where we get the agenda like 3 days prior or 4 days prior to the assembly. So I was wondering if it's possible within our own region to just set like a consistent monthly deadline of reports of like it's due every month on this like this day, or if that would not be possible.
No, that is possible. I see Cassandra has her hand up. Would you like to answer that, Cassandra?
Yes, I would. So I believe you're from Region 4, if I'm correct, and I do recall that being an issue throughout last term. So actually, we use Region 4 as an example, and we emphasize with our regional affairs directors when we train them the importance of communicating with the delegates and regional officers way beforehand. So just to give like a rough outline to that we gave to the RADs of how they should be planning out delegate assembly dates, they should be either sending out a one-to-meet early in the month saying like, hey, like we need to meet for this month. When are you all available? And the moment that a date and time is established for a majority of the delegates and regional officers, the regional affairs director or the student intern will send out an email to all officers and delegates saying, hey everyone, like this is when our delegate assembly will be. Please submit your report, your officer or delegate report by this date to this person. And then there should be a reminder email sent. And typically the rule of thumb is for the reports to be sent 5 days before the delegate assembly. So that way, when the agendas are submitted 3 days before the assembly, then the regional affairs director is able to link everyone's written report into the agenda beforehand. So that way, you will have the opportunity to give your written report by then. But we are making it very clear with our RADs this term the importance of making a very clear process so that what happened last year doesn't happen again this year. So that's a very good question to ask, and I'm very glad you asked it. But we will be making sure our RADs are aware, and our student interns will be playing a role as well in that communication and making and bridging that possible gap there is, so that you guys will not be penalized for something that's out of your control.
Well, actually, we're gonna take it a step further. We're gonna recommend that each of the regions follow the process that the SSCCC Board of Directors have. Meetings are set well in advance of the term, so you know when your delegate assembly is. The executive board meeting is set the week prior. That before that, so you have in your term the delegate assembly, the executive meeting, and at that same time, you have a deadline for report. So you have all of those dates already established at the beginning of the term. You share that out with your delegates, so there is an expectation. And then someone is within the region ranks. I would suggest it would be the vice chair, send out reminders to the delegates and the regional officers when the reports are due in time to hit the delegate assembly. The more you automate the process, which I think is the point that Cassandra was getting to, the better you are, the better communication, the less misunderstanding. So as vice chairs, you will have the opportunity to meet with your executive board, make that proposition. Say, we need to do this a month in advance. Most of your delegates have their schedule set for the fall term. Do it the fall and then do it the spring when the schedules change. And then you don't have to worry about it. You can also be able to send out for addresses. You already know where the dates are. And so there's a lot of things you can do in advance, and then you're not having to worry about it. It's almost like having a syllabus for the beginning of the term. You know the expectations, and it's easier to operate that way. And you all are already operating that way on assignments and other aspects, so why not just go ahead and institute it? So I think that whatever you all as vice chairs can do to make your region more efficient, make the suggestions. And we are suggesting that all the regions meet in August to create their action plan, and this could be one part of it. Are there any other questions? That was a great question. Thank you very much for that question. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no other questions, we're here as a resource. Please feel free to reach out. Reach out to your student intern. We almost have all the regions will have an intern by August. We're hoping. We still have region 10. We're still looking for an intern, but we just hired an intern for 4 and for 5. And we are closer to 1 for 2. So 10 is the only one we're missing. So as soon as that 10 is brought on board, they'll be onboarded and they'll be ready to go. Your interns are a critical partner in the success of your regions. Lean on them. Most of the interns were here last year, so they know a lot about the different regions and how to participate in the region and provide you with resources. They also have wealth of resources. If they don't know how, they know where to draw on. But use us, communicate with us, speak with us, make sure that you're informed, and then rely obviously on your vice president, Josh, who will be a great resource for you. Meet with him one-on-one, reach out and talk to him, as well as your regional affairs officer. So with that, I want to thank you all. First of all, I'd like to thank all my presenters, Cassandra, Nick, and Emily, for assisting us in this presentation. Thank you for your expertise and the presentations. I'd also like to thank all of you for joining us this afternoon and being present. I hope you all were present and didn't just put a picture on, but I want to thank you all for being here. Reach out. I will send a PowerPoint as well as the recording once the recording is done, along with a feedback form for you to complete and submit. It should be a short feedback form, only 3 to 4 minutes. It should take you nothing. When you receive it, please turn it around. It helps us improve our trainings so that we can make sure that they are useful for you in your job as you begin this year. So with that, I'll thank you all and look forward to working this term with you.